Okay, so you know how much I love to cook, right? And you sent over this episode from farm to table, seasonal cooking.
Yes.
It's from Cooking Conversations. And, well, now I'm ready to hit the farmer's market.
Sounds like a great plan.
It does, doesn't it? But you know, it's funny because everybody uses that phrase farm to table these days.
Right.
But what does it actually mean?
Well, it has become kind of a buzzword.
Yeah.
But farm to table is more than just a trend. It's really about bringing the source of your food and your plate closer together, basically using fresh, local, and in-season ingredients.
So less time traveling for a food means what? More flavor? More nutrients?
Exactly. You're getting it. When you choose seasonal produce, you're really tapping into the natural peak flavor and nutrition cycle.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
For example, did you know that a tomato that's picked at its peak ripeness during the summer
Yeah.
can have way higher levels of lycopene, and that's a super powerful antioxidant?
Oh, wow.
It's like, comparing a pale, watery tomato in the winter to that burst of juicy sweetness you get in July. There's just no comparison.
Oh, yeah, huge difference.
Yeah.
So this is more than just like a foodie fad, huh? What other benefits come with the whole farm-to-table thing?
Well, just think about all the energy and resources it takes to get your food from across the country or even the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Choosing local produce means you're helping lower that carbon footprint. Plus, you're directly supporting the farmers in your community, and that helps those smaller farms stay alive and well.
So it's not just about good food, it's good for the planet
Exactly.
and good for our local economy.
Exactly.
And often seasonal produce is also more affordable because there's so much of it.
Exactly. You're getting it.
So it's good for your health, good for the planet, good for the local economy, and good for my wallet.
You got it. It's about working with nature's rhythms and getting all the good stuff that comes with it.
Okay, I'm convinced. Now I'm thinking about all the delicious fall flavors. What are some of the stars of the season we should look out for?
Oh, autumn is just a feast for the senses. Especially when you're thinking about food. Think about those warm, comforting flavors, like squash, pumpkins, apples, pears, sweet potatoes, and all those amazing root vegetables, things like carrots and beets.
Okay, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
How do we take all this amazing produce from the farmer's market and actually use it, though?
Oh, there are just endless ways to get creative with all this autumn goodness.
Like what?
Imagine a creamy butternut squash soup with a touch of maple syrup and rosemary. Or a rustic apple tart with the crumble topping using those nice tart, crisp apples that are perfect for baking this time of year.
Stop. You're making me hungry. Actually, I love butternut squash soup. The episode mentioned a recipe, didn't it?
They did, and it's a classic for a reason.
Okay, so tell me more.
Well, you just roast the squash to bring out all that natural sweetness, and then you blend it up with some sautéed onions, some garlic, and vegetable broth.
Sounds simple enough.
Oh, it is! And a little nutmeg adds warmth. And for anyone who likes it extra creamy, you can swirl in some coconut milk or even cream on top, and it just takes it to a whole other level.
Okay, that sounds amazing. But to be honest, I don't always have time for elaborate recipes. What are some simpler ways to get these seasonal ingredients into our meals?
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to be a gourmet chef to cook seasonally.
Good, because I'm definitely not.
Even adding some roasted root veggies as a side dish or tossing some diced apples into your salad can make a big difference. The key is to have fun and just experiment a little.
I love that. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Yeah.
Right. But what about those of us who don't have a farmer's market right around the corner? How do we find those local gems?
That's a great question, and actually the episode had some good advice for that too.
Good.
Even without a farmer's market, you can still prioritize seasonal eating. Keep an eye out for locally sourced labels at the grocery store. You can even look for signs or ask the produce manager about where their produce comes from.
So we have to become grocery store detectives.
Right. And another good tip is to pay attention to abundance. If you see tons of a particular fruit or vegetable, it's probably in season and grown locally.
So a giant stack of zucchini means local and seasonal. Got it. But what about going beyond the grocery store? The episode talked about something called CSAs. What are those and how do they work?
CSAs, which stands for Community Supported Agriculture Programs, give you a more direct farm-to-table experience. Basically, you sign up with a local farm and they deliver a box of fresh, seasonal produce right to your door.
So it's like a surprise box of yummy goodness delivered right to me.
Exactly. It's a great way to try new things, get creative in the kitchen, and support local farmers all at the same time.
Okay, I'm sold.
Yeah.
So are there different types of CSAs? Are there any insider tips for choosing the right one? So different kinds of CSAs, huh?
Yeah, there are a few different types.
Sure.
Some, they offer you like a set box of produce every week, and others, they let you kind of customize what you get.
Oh, that's cool.
And then there are CSAs that focus on just certain types of produce, like heirloom varieties or organic options.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So you're basically creating like your own little farmer's market at home.
Exactly.
So like, what are some things I should think about when I'm choosing a CSA?
Well, I think the first thing is to consider your lifestyle and what you like to eat.
Okay.
Do you want to be surprised every week, or do you want to pick out what you're going to get?
Yeah, that makes sense.
How much produce can you actually use before it goes bad?
Yeah, good point.
Ah.
I've definitely been guilty of being a little too ambitious with the zucchini before.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there. And it's also a good idea to think about the logistics.
Okay.
How far away is the farm?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have like convenient pickup spots, or do they deliver?
Right.
And then, of course, you've got to consider the cost and what's actually included in the share.
Okay, so do your research and find a CSA that really works for you and what you like. This is sounding like a really fun way to try new things and get those farm fresh goodies.
Definitely. And the episode also talked about how cooking with seasonal stuff can be a really creative outlet.
Yes. It's not just about following recipes. It's like, what can I make with this?
Exactly. It's like embracing those limitations and seeing them as opportunities.
I like that.
Instead of using the same old ingredients all year round, you have to think outside the box a little and experiment with different flavors and textures.
And I bet that leads to some pretty amazing discoveries.
Oh, it definitely does. That's where those aha moments come in. You discover a new favorite flavor combination, or you come up with a dish that really captures the essence of the season.
Like, the episode mentioned that fall is the perfect time to experiment with roasting all those root vegetables.
Absolutely. Roasting them really brings out the natural sweetness of those root veggies, like carrots, beets, sweet potatoes. And don't be shy about trying different spices and herbs. Just a sprinkle of cinnamon or a sprig of rosemary can turn a simple roasted vegetable dish into something really special.
I have to admit, I get stuck in a rut with my cooking sometimes. But this whole idea of using what's in season to get creative is really inspiring.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off of having to invent something totally new. It lets you play with the flavors that nature is giving you at that moment.
Exactly. It's like having a culinary muse guiding you through the seasons. And the best part is there's always something new to discover.
So beyond roasted root veggies, what are some other ways to bring that fall feeling into our cooking?
Well, fall is all about those warm, comforting flavors, like hearty soups, stews, and braises.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a creamy pumpkin soup with a swirl of coconut milk and some toasted pumpkin seeds on top. Or a slow-cooked beef stew with tender butternut squash and carrots.
Okay, stop. I'm getting way too hungry.
Right. What about apples? They're like a classic fall ingredient.
Oh, for sure.
Any tips for using them beyond just apple pie?
Apples are so versatile.
Yeah.
Of course, you can use them in crumbles and crisps and tarts, but you can also add them to salads for some sweetness and crunch. You can even use them in savory dishes, like with pork chops or chicken.
Oh, I've never thought about adding apples to savory dishes, but now I'm really intrigued.
It's such a good way to add some sweetness and acidity. You could try pan-searing some pork chops with sliced apples and onions and a little splash of apple cider. It makes a simple but delicious fall-inspired meal.
Okay, I'm definitely trying that. I'm realizing that this whole seasonal cooking thing, it's about way more than just eating healthy and supporting local farms. It's about trying new things, expanding our cooking horizons, and really connecting with the food that we eat.
That's a great way to put it. It's about appreciating all the amazing things that nature gives us all year round. And it's about finding joy in cooking and sharing meals with the people we love. I think the podcast host even said something about how cooking seasonally encourages you to really savor the flavors of each season.
Yes, they did, and I totally agree. When we slow down and pay attention to each ingredient, we start to develop a more mindful and grateful relationship with our food.
It's true. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and see food as just fuel. But when we take the time to actually enjoy those flavors and think about where our food comes from, it becomes so much more than that.
It becomes an experience, a celebration of all those senses, and a way to connect with the natural world around us.
Absolutely. So as we're wrapping up our deep dive into the world of seasonal cooking, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Right.
What are some things they can do to start eating this way?
Well, I think the most important thing is to start small. You don't have to change everything about how you eat overnight.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Maybe try adding 1 or 2 seasonal ingredients to your meals each week.
Baby steps.
Right. Exactly. And then I'd say go check out your local farmer's market or do some searching online to see what's in season where you live. Talk to the farmers, ask them questions, and let all that amazing produce inspire you.
It's like a treasure hunt for delicious food.
Exactly. And if you're feeling adventurous, think about joining a CSA. It's an awesome way to support local farmers and discover new ingredients that you might not have tried otherwise.
And remember, don't forget to have fun with it. Play around with different flavors, try different cooking methods, and just be creative in the kitchen.
That's so important. Seasonal cooking shouldn't be a chore. It should be something you enjoy that nourishes both your body and your soul.
So as we're heading into the heart of autumn, let's encourage our listeners to embrace all those amazing fall flavors and go on their own culinary adventure.
Yes. What seasonal ingredient will they choose to explore in their kitchen this week? Maybe it's that beautiful butternut squash that's just waiting to become a creamy soup. Or maybe it's a basket of crisp apples ready to be baked into a warm and comforting pie.
I love that, just enjoying the simple things. Sometimes we get so caught up in all these fancy recipes, we forget how awesome a perfectly ripe apple is, or a juicy tomato, fresh from the garden.
It's true. And honestly, sometimes those simple things are the best. It's like rediscovering that pure joy in what nature gives us.
Exactly. And remember, this whole seasonal cooking thing, it's not about being perfect. It's a journey.
Right.
You don't have to change your whole way of eating overnight.
Yeah, just take it slow.
Just start small, be curious, and most importantly, have fun with it.
Absolutely. Make little changes, see what works for you, and just enjoy the process. And who knows, you might even inspire others to do the same.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into seasonal cooking, here's something to think about.
Yeah.
What's one small step you can take to really embrace what's in season right now?
Yeah, what will it be?
Will you hit up the farmer's market this weekend? Try a new recipe with something seasonal. Or maybe just take a moment to really savor the flavor of a perfectly ripe piece of fruit.
That's a great idea.
We hope this deep dive gave you some good ideas
Right.
and inspired you to go on your own seasonal cooking adventure.
Happy cooking!